Admiral Adama himself, and Fort James Olmos. Let's give him a warm welcome. Welcome, everybody. Go ahead and take a seat, give me a mic. So we will be doing a few questions, and then we will be doing a little bit of fan questions, and we got a lot. So we're not gonna get through all of this, I'm sorry guys, but we do pick up a few of them. So, how's everybody doing? San Antonio treating you good?
Yeah.
Us?
I
Okay,
can't
we're
believe
great.
you guys are out here. Doesn't anybody work? You know, if we were going to do this tomorrow, I could see it happening, but today's Friday, guys.
Well, there you go. Hey, I don't mind.
I'm so happy that you're all here, brother.
Somehow we all made it.
Exactly. And I'm taking a slight pay cut this check, to be here today with this amazing panel. I'm just gonna throw that out there, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I want to start at the beginning, which means going back to the end. So, the miniseries, right? You guys are getting ready to film that epic "So Say We All" moment. Do you guys remember that, by the way? I mean, that moment has gone down in TV history in my eyes. But there is a story that Edward, right, put together a little pep talk for the main cast.
You know what? I'm old. So I was told that I actually gave the pep talk at the beginning of the season 1, not at the So Say We All. Is that true? You're the one that I think so, right?
I think what Jose's referring to is the pep talk was on the screen. The "So Say We All" moment wasn't written like that.
Exactly.
And the pep talk was a surprise to everyone.
Very much so.
And now you finish the story.
Basically, when we started this project, it was a labor of true love and understanding. The writing was superb. Ron Miller had created an incredible world. It was actually on paper, but when we brought it to life, it became even more. So when we did the So Say We All scene, that was the very first scene that we all did together in ever. That was the first scene that we shot. I think that morning, Callis, James, and Tricia had been working together doing all the love scenes.
No, you got this wrong.
Okay.
That was a whole week's work.
Oh,
Where they made love for a week solid out on West Vancouver on the fjord. Your first day, sir, was the So Say We All day, and it was the first day we all got together on the
Right.
same sound stage.
right.
So it
First
wasn't
time we all worked.
Yeah.
Had you worked before that?
I had.
Oh,
It wasn't the love scene.
Oh, yours was.
No. It was an electromagnetic head fuck I had to do. Anyway, back to you. Stop deflecting.
So anyway, we ended up doing the scene, and of course, the director was very secure. He's very strong, very good, and I can always tell when someone's secure when you start to, suggest things and they accept that. He's secure enough to allow growth around him, and that to me is a real strong element of great people to work with, period, no matter what you're doing. And so I suggest, he wanted me to be standing up there with the priestess, and I said, no, I want to be with everybody else as well. It's all right with you. And I asked him, do you have, will your cameras move? And he says, oh, I got 4 cameras, and you can do whatever you want to do. I got you covered. I said, okay, thank you very much. That's all he had to say. And so I stood there, and the scene started, and that's when we never rehearsed the scene. We just did it, and it was the very first time we were doing it. And it was actually the scene we used for the first take. And the reason was because of what it did to all of us. We all went to a level of understanding something without even talking about it. We didn't have to say a word. was is that when I started and I got up there and I started to walk around and sing the speech, and you guys remember it. And remember, for me, it was my very first day working with everybody. Okay, I thought it was the very first day we actually were together. Period. But I guess they had many scenes of sex and violence and stuff before I got there. I'm not sure how true that is, but you have to ask James about what he was doing in the scene. And so when I did the scene and I came around and I said, "So say we all," there was no sense of understanding. They, like you say to you right now, "So say we all." Yeah, see, now you do it. They were more like, "So say we all," you know, it's just like.
It was just like a simple amen.
Yeah.
So he said amen and we said amen.
Yeah.
And then he said
Amen.
a bit louder. And we were like, amen.
Then I said, Amen.
Amen.
And it built, and that building is what gave us what now has become an iconic moment in the story, where So Say We All became the essence, and it's being used today, everybody. You guys are all using it. You guys are using it, we're using it, and people are using it all over this world, really. And I'm very grateful that it was out there, and that we got a chance to do it. But it was improvisational as to the attitude and the way that we represented it. Everybody just jumped to the level of expectation and went higher. And that's what made the show. Literally, that moment in time made the show. It united us because that was the last scene of the miniseries. You know, it was like how we finished. And here we are shooting at the very beginning of the show. None of us had even worked together. I didn't know anybody, you know. And then the memorable time, everybody, the moment we all got into my trailer, and before we started the first scene, the first episode, right? 33. That's when that happened. Okay.
So I think we're all pretty grateful that, you know, Errol took those choices. Don't you? Come on. That's the tone for the entire show, I think so. So James, I hear, hi, Jose.
Hello. How are the acoustics for you guys here? Can you hear us? Okay, good.
Perfect. So I feel a little bit of jealousy, you know, when talking about your scenes with Trisha, right? But I wanted to ask you, so head 6, right?
There are a lot of people who are really jealous of Trisha because she got to work with me. What can I say? I'm so sorry.
Yes. Very much so. But I want to ask how did you balance, you know, the mixture between seriousness, strategy, a little bit of comedy, you know, with those interactions, right, that were basically just in your head?
I was pretty new to science fiction as a genre, but what I felt was that there was a certain kind of action that people had in science fiction shows where everybody knew what they were doing. Do you know what I mean? There didn't seem to be very much uncertainty.
Right.
And because of the dangerous nature of my character, or his lack of character, you might say. Yeah, not too much. So I wanted to bring to the genre, you know, as a little bit of uncertainty. Like, it would seem on Star Trek, everybody always knows where they're going, if it's the bridge or this place. So then, for me on Battlestar, I don't know what the Battlestar is. I don't know how to get from the lab to another place. So it was trying to throw in a mix of, I suppose, like a fish out of water, or somebody who doesn't know the right answer immediately. They're not heroic, because everybody around you is. And so, through the uncertainty, or like not knowing what was going to happen next. I think through that there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of humanity, there's comedy, but it comes from you're new on Battlestar, and to a degree, and also not militaristic like everybody else around you, if that answers the question.
Right. That's absolutely perfect. And I think we all enjoyed those, quirky, yet tragic, yet very human moments, right? When, Gaius Baltar had whole conversations with Head 6, and everybody else is just staring at him like, so, what's going on?
Yeah, we had a really funny moment with Richard Hatch, when he got to do the scene with me and Trisha. And like most people, you can't take your eyes off Trisha. And they kept on having to go to Richard going, you can't see her. You can't see her, and stop looking at her. It was like, it's very difficult.
So, Tahmoh, speaking of not knowing what was going to happen, Hilo, right? Famously, the character was not meant to make it nearly as far as it did, right, in the show. He was meant to be left on Caprica, right? And that was kind of going to be the end of it. But then, people wanted more, right? People wanted more of the character, and in no small part, because of Tahmoh, of course, and his interpretation of the character. So thank you for that. But I wanted to ask, how soon did you actually know that they were going to bring it back, or that the story was going to continue for you?
It took a while. So as far as I was concerned, when I did the miniseries, that was it for me. And we shot, the last stuff that we shot was the epic stuff in the field where we got the raptor and all the refugees are running towards us trying to get saved. And we had this epic, did we shoot that in Wyoming? Is that Wyoming? Do you remember where that was? Anyway, perfect location outside of Vancouver, and it was just an incredible filming day. And Eddie was there, and I already signed on to another show. I was going to be regular on a Canadian cop series. Because as far as I was concerned, I wasn't looking back. I had a hero end. That was actually, that scene was the scene that I auditioned for. So, to me, it was just a great role. And Michael Weinberg written me in to more scenes as we went on when we were doing this miniseries, when we shot together for like 3 months. So the part just kept getting better for me, but never was I sure that I was actually pretty sure that was it. I had the hero shot, I'm left on the planet, it blows up, there's a nuclear holocaust, Hilo's the hero, and everybody dies. And then they go to the spaceship, and everybody's trying to, they go back to Galactica, and everybody else was left with humanity trying to survive and outstep the silence. But it's funny, I thought about this the other day. So Grace and I had that really powerful scene, she's taking off the raptor, she's got Gaius Baltar, she's got a handful of refugees, and, doing this scene, they lifted actually I think it was our first meeting, we climbed up the ladder from this big fan, and the hero shot is coming at me. Anyway, I felt amazing, such a powerful day. Grace and I, for a young actor, we had just like beautiful moments, the extras, everything was so real in that scene. And then I remember feeling, and again, not that I had a lot of experience to base it on, but I was like, this went really well. I know this went really well. This is a beautiful day, this is powerful work, and I felt so satisfied. And Eddie came up to me and said, he pulled me aside and said, hey man, you did such a good job, they want to bring you back. And even though this was coming from literally like this iconic figure who was part of the reason that I even became an actor, and he's telling me this, I took it and I received the compliment, and it was so wonderful to hear, but I in no way felt that was real. I thought Eddie was just giving me a huge compliment, and maybe that was a possibility, but I didn't put any weight on that. I really didn't, even though when I reflect back on it, he was being very sincere about it. But I didn't, I was going on to something else, and nobody else had told me that, none of the other showrunners, and in my head, the planet's being destroyed by nuclear holocaust. So it was almost a year later, or at least 6-7 months or something. No, it was a year. because how much time transpired between the miniseries and shooting the first? It was a year, right? Yeah, because I had enough time to do 10 episodes of a new cop show in Vancouver, and then go to my first pilot season, and then have a particularly bad week where I was like, what the hell am I doing? I can't do this. This is terrible. I need to go back to goofing. And then my manager called and said Ron Moore wanted to talk to me. And yeah, after that it was, I got the opportunity to go back.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I'll be glad. I'm sure the movie industry missed a great opportunity, but Battlestar Galactica is way different because of Hilo really became kind of the heart of the fleet. Honestly, I mean, his character just it was an incredible transformation, right, season to season. Speaking of transformations, Grace. Absolutely. So, you play, spoilers, by the way, you play Cylon, right? And not just one, but many, two that stuck with us for pretty much the entirety of the series, right? So, I want to ask you, how were you able to discern or put a barrier between what Athena and Boomer had to be, right? Because obviously they share many common things, and yet they had to be very different at the same time. So how was it? How would you approach that?
I think it was a lot. I mean, as actors, we're always meant to go into the shoes of different characters. So it's not like, in your regular day you go do that unless you have this alter, like a hidden life. So we've had practice at it for a while, and I think that one of the easiest parts to differentiate the two was that one of the characters was on the planet with Hilo, and it was really simple, the difference being out in the woods, but that was, it really helped to set the stage. And also I didn't have to start by trying to indicate how different they were and trying to show, what a good actor I was. I was just trying to stay on the show. And so essentially she just had to pretend to be the other one. So there wasn't a lot to have to demonstrate. And through time, they went through quite significant differences, and I think it's like even when you think of someone in your life, either like a best friend or a cousin, you almost have a feeling of what they're like. And if I remember what, let's say, Boomer went through, there's like an echo, or there's like a resonance of what that character is. And so that would just inform me. And just as much as you don't have to keep all these people separate, like what is your best friend feel, what your cousin feel like, there's just this automatic grouping of characteristics and qualities that is that person, and their trajectories changed so much that it was easier to do. And if they were like a lot more intimately woven, that would have been more finessing perhaps. But even when I had the scene with them two together, I tried to really, this is the acting moment, I must really show how different they were. And then Michael Warner just told me, like, why are you making her a bitch? I was like pretty taken aback, like, oh, that was pretty rough, but okay. So then I didn't know what to do, and I thought I did nothing. But actually, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's fine. So sometimes you have to, I don't think I realized that there was some level of embodiment that I was just naturally doing, and the characters were not us, but they were being written sometimes towards the characters that were kind of coming through us, not necessarily us as a human being, Grace or Jamie or Edward, but maybe there's like a combination of such. So yeah, it wasn't as hard as you think. It was easy. I think Marsha had hard.
There you go. And she did an amazing job, didn't she? I mean, come on, those characters, incredible. Some of the heaviest things, in the show too. So my hats off to you for pulling those up. And speaking of, the characters maybe not being exactly who you are, Jamie, Apollo, went through this chunkier face in the show. How was, you know, how did it change the physicality of your performance, right? Because now you got prosthetics, you know, you can't exactly move the way you were. So, you know, could you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the challenges while trying to act in all of that?
Well, I mean, first of all, I love the opportunity. It's very rare on or it certainly was then on a TV show, where you take a risk with a principal character like that, and you dare to change him that much.
Right.
I mean, initially this was the change. At the first read, where we read the script, and there was a year's jump, and all the characters, famously, you know, Ron designed it with Michael, that the year's jump happened in the same shot, a wrap around James's head, I believe. Yeah, the year's jump happened in one shot as it wrapped around Baltazar's head and it came back, and in that year he'd become president, is that right? Yeah, he'd become president. All this crap was happening on Galactica. I got married, and this was the change. I went from Leah Donna to Leah Donna. It was literally a pair of glasses. And which has now happened to me, by the way. And then everyone was like, oh, it's a bit boring, Jamie doesn't get to do much, and Reimer came up with this thing, you know, that he gets fat because people were happy and married and home cooking and not working out, and he's got fat. And I just loved it. He suggested this over the table. I went, yes, let's do that. And we did a test and 4 hours of makeup. But to answer your question, for me, I was always trying to push Lee in different directions. And like, notice that, all the jobs available, janitor one week and then president the next, via lawyer and various other things. The opportunity to explore him in a different physicality was just fun. And I'd never had facial prosthetics before, and Patricia Murray, our makeup artist, did them, and I was just in awe and wonder. You know, part of the joy of our world is the artifice as well as you try and create a reality, but, you know, we're pretending, the sets aren't real, and it's just a wonderful thing if you see technicians do this magic in real plastic forms, no camera trickery, all real. But it was a challenge, because this thing would sit on my face. We were filming in summer, and, you know, you'd sweat, and she'd have the cocoa comb, you know, one of those sort of needle comb things in, so that the sweat would pour out. And you could only shoot it in certain angles because it would deteriorate over time. So there's a lot of stuff to negotiate, but really what I enjoyed doing is experimenting with a different side of this guy. What happens when he does chill out and relax and become sedentary? And I love the scenes with Ed when you've gone soft, he's gone fat. Yeah, it was great fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, not one too many words, that.
Listen, he's not too woke, he's not scared of fat shaming, I will say. It's just the character, that is, this guy's the wokest, he's the wokest man I know. But the Admiral, not so woke.
Not so much, yeah, exactly. So, question for all of you actually, we'll keep it light. Who of you still use the word frat in your daily life? You can raise hands.
That's a perfect word.
Right?
It is a perfect word. You can use it every day. And you can use it if people don't get all upset. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God, I can speak it. No, that's a great word. I was so grateful when we came up with it. Frack. Frack you. That was Hogan's favorite line.
I say that I never use the word, but I have a son, and he went to this. He was in school, and he was pretty young, and they didn't really swear there very much. You know, it was like a Waldorf school, but he came home one day and had the word frack, and I was like, this is such a weird moment right now. But he's not swearing. He's swearing. And also, he doesn't know where that word came from that we were on. And I took mental note of it, and I think I might have said something to him, but he's, of course, it's way over his head. He's never gonna, one day in the future, I'll probably tell him. But you guys get it, like how funny that would be.
That's awesome. the cast of Battlestar Galactica is famously, you know, still very close to each other. You know, keep in touch with each other. You actually hang out with each other. You know, which is not necessarily the norm, right? Normally, again, and this is for everybody who wants to answer. Why do you think that is? Where do you think that sort of family bond came from?
Sitting next to him.
There you go.
You know, it's literally. Edward and Mary created an atmosphere on set where they were literally interested in us, all of us younger actors who were starting out. And they created this bond. They cared. These are Oscar nominees who were doing sci-fi for the Sci-Fi Channel in 2003 on basic cable. Like, other stuff was going on elsewhere. We were doing this hokey show that Eddie was determined wouldn't be a hokey show, and Mary was determined wouldn't be a hokey show. And so they cared, and they helped us, they nurtured us. Eddie watched every daily to terrify us. But gradually he let us know that we were good enough, and that was appreciated, thank you. And there are other elements too. I think being in Vancouver, we've got 2 Vancouverites in the centre. You know, James and I were there with our families in a strange city that we didn't know, and we were embraced and welcomed by the locals.
We were. Hello.
They switched me on.
I was going to say also, one of the first things was that we all got invited to our director's house, Michael Reimer. And Michael Reimer and Loretta would have initially these parties for all of us, so that we get to know each other, not just being on set, and not necessarily just talking about the work, although a large portion of the parties was talking about what we were going to be doing, how exciting it was, what that might engender going forwards. So I would say pretty early on we were connecting together socially. I don't think anybody could have known, in the sense of the way we're all cast and we're all so different. But like, yeah, it is an unusual thing. It's like all the personalities, like, we like to be with each other. We realised that pretty early on. And we've had the advantage and opportunity to, it's like the greatest thing. People talk about this kind of thing. And Eddie spoke about this as well, how unusual Battlestar was for you in your career as something that pulled all these people together 20 years later. It speaks for itself. But you know, it's fair to say you kind of love to see each other and love to hang out with each other.
And love to do awesome panels like this one, you know, with each other. So let's give it up for them.
Those 6 years were so formative. Like, you know, James and Jamie had a family, you know, Grace got married. Like, a lot happened during that time in Vancouver. And like James said, and Jamie alluded to, like, once we started breaking bread together, once we started having meals together, discussing the show, we were so into it. We loved each other's time. We really ran with that. And here you are, 20 some odd years later, and we're still doing it as much as we can. It doesn't get old. I love these people. Yeah, I feel so incredibly blessed to be there.
And Aaron said, he's not here today, but Aaron, the chief, asked us, you know, at dinner after a different con, you know, why do you think, you know, we've all been on many shows, like, why do you think this show? And maybe you guys understand, or I'm not sure how you take this, but I said, this is not our first time around. And he just kind of looked at me and he's like, what do you mean? And of course I said the line from the show, you know, this has all happened once, it'll happen again, and then he walked away from the table, but with his head on his hands, but at the same time, it's like, I think there is a soul connection, and yes, we had amazing, generous leaders that it couldn't have happened the same way, but somehow this group of people was meant to come together, and yes, we broke bread, and that hugely helped. But I think there was like a kindred sense within us all, because if you look at us, we're not, like, we get along, but we're not all the same. We're quite different. And I love how different everyone is and how unique. And recently I've been talking about like how just cripplingly insecure I was back then. But at the same time, like, people didn't really care. It's like, and it didn't matter however I was, that we were just going to accept each other. And I feel really blessed. And I was even thinking that, like, you know, compared to my own family, of course, you know, all our families are loving and stuff, but I'm like, I feel like this is more my family somehow in this, like, odd way. Than in a loving way.
Can I add to that? A friend of mine just said he's like, you've got your family, there's your bio family, and then there's your logical family. Biological means split them up. There's like logical family.
I love it. So, we got the last 10 minutes here of the panel. We are going to jump into some fan questions, all right? And these are pretty easy, don't worry, we can keep it light. Okay, so first one from Rowena, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Grace, how did you react when you found out your character was a Cylon?
Definitely confused. I thought there was a mistake, but I didn't realize that she was a Cylon either. And then I thought later that somehow I felt like bad that they made my character a Cylon. Somehow they had no other choice. I was like, very confused young character. Very grateful.
Okay, so for James, how difficult was it to film the scene with you talking with Gata with 6 all over you? Did it take many takes? This comes from Louis.
So I remember, I think that you're referring to a scene in the mini-series, and we hadn't, yeah, that was really, it was difficult to film because it was the first time really Head 6 had appeared. I had done my, whatever, kissing scenes in the house. Don't try it at home. Don't get hurt. But yeah, and when we were doing the thing on the bridge, it was very difficult term to find, to be honest, because you know, like, the whole world's been blown up, and we were also experimenting with how number 6 was going to come in and out of the scene, which was a lot of Trisha hiding behind chairs, and not as glamorous as it looks. And I do remember a point where it was so ludicrous, honestly. You've got Alessandro in, very natural, very open. He's like, listen, Dr. Baltar, I've been a huge fan of yours for years. Meanwhile, me knowing that I'm complicit in something totally terrible. And then I've got Trisha behind him doing like, in the face going, are they going to use this? It's kind of serious moments. So yeah, it was actually quite difficult that first time to try and find it all.
Absolutely. And I think you did an amazing job. What do you guys think? Okay, so here we go. This is for everybody. So, if you can change one thing about your character story, what would it be? You can't say not being fat. Just change one thing about your character.
I think that's an easy one. I've spoken on this before. I would have liked the opportunity to work more with some of my cast members. I loved everything I did. It was incredible, but I barely got to share the screen with this man.
Right.
The mini-series, and then that was basically it. We had a couple quick scenes after that. I just would have, yeah, it would have been nice. We had some big casts too. And they were just, yeah, if there's one thing I could change, I'd probably do that.
Interesting.
The one thing I would say that I would like to change is working with Baltar. Working with Baltar was very difficult. Extremely difficult. I like James, but I hate Baltar. I hate him. And the difficult part about it was that this is not a joke, okay? We could not shoot scenes with Michael Hogan, myself, and even Mary. We're the old guard, the old men guard. We've been doing this a long time by the time we started to work together. But James, all the time, was just unbelievably hysterical to work with. A very difficult person to work with because he was so funny. And we could not get through the scene. I mean, the director and the producers, they got pissed, they got angry. They go, okay, will you guys just calm down? And first they try to be nice. Oh, great, that's great, okay. Take 72, ready? Okay, and action. We're on the floor. And he like, he's not doing anything. And by not doing anything and playing that character the way he played it, it was just very difficult to work with him. I didn't like it.
It was this thing that, I'm with you, you're pretty serious person, serious in the show, very serious. I'm with Michael Hogan, also very serious.
Very serious.
And the humour actually came out of me also trying to look serious. I'm also really serious. It was funny.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant, and very, very much an understanding and really that he was incredible to work with. I mean, just extraordinary acting on everybody's part. I mean, I wasn't trying to be nice to the young actors. I wasn't trying to be, I'll motivate them so that they'll, rise to the level of a higher expectation.
You're terrified.
But when I would compliment them and when I would talk to them, it was from the heart and soul. I said, I found this group to be the strongest acting force I've been involved with, only because one, material, story was everything, and two, the way that they all performed, because many of them, it was like their first job, major piece of work. Not that they hadn't done stuff, they hadn't done, guest star lead here, or guest doing television shows, episodic TV. But this was not episodic television. This was way, way, way beyond that. This was the documentation of human behavior inside of a situation that ended up becoming a reality which we are facing right now in 2025. And that's why, and it's really difficult. This is a very difficult reality we're facing. And I was talking to some people today, I was writing something for them on a photo, and they were standing there and talking to me, and I said to them, listen, you have to hold on to the hope, because this is just starting. It's going to go south real fast and real hard, because I don't know if we're going to have another election. I think that it's going to be, they're going to call martial law and say that, it's impossible right now because there's so much divisiveness and there's so much corruption in the voting systems that, I'm sorry, but right now we're not going to be able to vote. And it's like, we're not going to be able to vote. And everybody's here going, oh, Jesus, and it's getting a little lighter. Do we have to go there? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Just like we're doing. Please go back and rewatch the series and memorize the understandings that you get when you're watching truths that come out in that show. Because it's right now the 1 billion robots being created by Elon Musk. And I've seen them, they pick food from the fields, they wash windows, they take care of children, they do secretarial work. It's 1 billion robots that don't cost you a penny once you buy them. You don't have to give them overtime, you don't have to, you have to do anything to robots, and you can do whatever you want, you own them, okay? And so it's here, it's not coming, it's here. And I saw, I was in Japan last month, and as I was there, I was watching Japanese television, and I couldn't understand what they were saying, but I was watching this, and all of a sudden I saw this man sitting talking to the guy, and he felt there was something about him and the confidence in the way he was talking. And the camera went from him, and it slowly kept moving, and as it kept moving, right next to him was him. And I thought it was like almost like a mirror, like a reflection. And I'm trying to figure out, what is this guy a twin? You know? And identical. Okay? And it was, he had created himself. Robot that looked exactly human. It looked like, like the Cylons. They were human. I'm not kidding, and I didn't know what they were saying, but I could tell. Then they would shoot into his laboratory, and you would see how they were training them and how they were doing this work. They're very advanced. Their technology is very, very strong and very advanced. So it's here now, and with the advent of AI is one thing, but AGI is more. But they're now getting to the point of that we're getting into ASI. ASI is the end, the beginning of the end, because they won't be able to interrelate with themselves without anyone human getting involved with anything. They'll be able to do everything that we do, and communication and understanding of themselves. And they can rationalize, they can create, they can do. ASI is superior, intellect, artificial superior intellect. So, to me, we have a responsibility that have gone through the experience of Battlestar and got to the end and realized that the only thing that really saved us was reconciliation with the Cylons. That's why we're alive today. And in that world, the only reason we were alive was because we reconciled. And when the Cylons and the humans got together, we were able to work together, and both existed in this universe. So for me, we're in for a hell of a ride. Just don't lose the hope. Stay strong. So say we all.
So say we all.
So say we all. So say we all.
Let's give it up, man. I just want to say on a personal note, thank you to all of our guests today for, like Edward was mentioning, for taking this show seriously, for putting all your heart, all your effort into it, making it one of the absolute best shows in general, let alone a sci-fi show that you've gotten ever, okay? So thank you to all of our fans. Thank you to you, the fans, for showing up even 20 years later. So give it up for yourselves, guys. Thank you again. It's amazing, amazing.